Smarterfan.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another segment of Smarterfan Podcast, where we bring you behind the veil of sports, business, and life. I'm Joe, and this is Barry. How you doing tonight, Barry?
I don't know, Joe. It was cold this morning, then it was hot,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's kind of in between. But
Yeah,
I feel good. I feel good. How you feeling?
I'm feeling just fine, just fine.
All right. What you got tonight? We cooking?
I'm going to talk about Brian Piccolo.
Wow. You going back to Brian's song.
That's
I
right.
don't,
That's
I don't even,
right.
I wonder how many people have even seen that now. We kind of grew up with that.
Yeah,
Story.
yeah, we did. All right. Well, he was the youngest of three boys growing up in Fort Lauderdale. And he was a star running back in high school, but he considered baseball his primary sport. So he went to Wake Forest, where he led the nation in rushing and scoring in his senior year in 64.
Mm,
Now, in the balloting for the Heisman, he was 10th.
really?
Yeah, just ahead of Joe Namath and Gail Sayers.
Wow.
Yeah. So now, despite being ACC Player of the Year, he wasn't selected by neither the AFL or the NFL in the draft.
Mm,
So he made the Bears team as an undrafted free agent.
wow.
And yeah, he started on the taxi squad, as they called it back then. It's the practice
Mm-hmm.
squad now. And in 66, he started on special teams. And in 67, he moved up to backing up Sayers on the main roster. He had his most productive year in 68 when Sayers went down with a knee injury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and in 69, he started at fullback with Sayers at halfback. Now, they were the only black and white players that roomed together.
Mm,
It was interesting times back then,
very interesting.
you know. So, um, but he the Bears were in the midst of like their worst season ever. They were 1-13,
Ooh.
and in this particular game, he voluntarily took himself out of the game, which he had never done before,
Mm.
and because he was having a lot of trouble breathing while he was playing. So he was diagnosed with testicular cancer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and after a few surgeries, it had started to spread to other organs in his body. So, unfortunately, he died on June 16th, 1970, at the age of 26.
Mm.
Now, people to this day that have seen Brian's song, they say that they don't have a dry eye watching that movie. I
Yeah,
mean,
no.
it was a very touching movie. That was the first time I had ever seen James Caan and Billy D.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and they did a remake of it sometime later. I never saw the remake, but if you get a chance, it's a very very touching movie.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, and
Who are the stars in it? In the remake.
I'm not sure. I just skimmed over it, but I didn't get the gist of it
Okay.
at that point.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it was just a very sad movie, but a very good movie. I remember watching it when it aired on Channel 7 in 71. And if I remember correctly, at the end of the movie, they interviewed his wife,
Mm.
you know. So, and if I believe um, Ernie Davis died at the same age. I believe he was 26 when he died.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. From the Browns, who
Mm,
went to Syracuse, who played with Jim Brown.
mm-hmm.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
Yeah. So and the Bears retired Piccolo's number. So he's up there with Sayers and them. So, but it was just very, very, very sad. He left three daughters, yeah,
Mm,
and they're all grown now.
mm-hmm.
So what's going on with the combine?
Man, I don't think of people really are realizing that we may be witnessing the death of the combine,
Hmm.
right? And somebody says, well, why do you say that to me? I said, do you know who the national champion is? It took them
Hmm.
a while to figure it out. I was like, yeah, I'm Michigan. I said, do you know the name of the quarterback for Michigan? Couldn't tell me. So you
Right.
telling me you couldn't tell me who the national champion was, who their quarterback who won the national championship,
Hmm.
but you can tell me everything about Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward.
Yeah.
You don't think that's a problem? I asked him, I said, you don't think that's a problem? He's not this, he's not that, da, 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 da. But all you guys could talk about is Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's arrogant or he's brash. And somebody said, but hold on, they went 9-3. He's getting more press than the national championship quarterback. Make it make sense to
Yeah.
me. Milroe from Alabama's there. He played under Saban. Didn't have a very good senior year, but they're not talking about him. They're not talking about any of the other quarterbacks who probably had a better team record. Why isn't that a story? I got one more for you. When has it ever happened, Joe, where the quarterback and four of his receivers, four of his receivers are all at the combine? Has that ever happened?
Hmm. Yeah.
To me, that's a story. In the history of the combine, has a quarterback and his four receivers all been at the combine?
Hmm.
And the person was like, you're right. I said, these are real stories. I don't know why they're not telling them. They're telling these idiotic stories that don't mean anything. And I said, what is ultimately going to happen, even them shutting out Shiloh, is going to backfire on them because people are going to say, because people keep forgetting what the bottom line is. The bottom line is, I need talent to win. And
Hmm.
so another part of the storyline is, wow, these Colorado players are pro ready.
That's right.
They're pro ready. So if I'm a GM and I'm trying to get away from the bottom 15, well, as I posed to someone else, Joe, think about this. Why wouldn't I try to draft Shedeur and at least one of his receivers? I may not get Travis,
Hmm.
but I would sure try to get the other four because guess what happens when they come into camp? They're ready to go.
That's right. That's right.
There's no chemistry to work on. They got
Hmm.
that.
Yeah. I was
These
talking to somebody about that today, and we was talking about what is the Eagles' defense? They're all Georgia Bulldogs.
we've been playing together 3-4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Outside, inside, up front,
Yep.
right? So we get the right coach and the right scheme. We back we back getting another natty on the NFL level. And so I think these things, for those who are in the know and those who understand the game, that is really the storyline. And it's just like, man, these reporters are some of these. It's really incompetent
Mm.
because those are. I mean, I'm looking. I'm like, has this ever happened in the history of the combine where you have the quarterback and at least three of his receivers in the NFL combine? Why aren't we talking about that? And I
Mm.
think so many people are mad that this kid, well, back to his dad, I'm telling my own story. his media is better than the main, quote unquote, main media. I mean, I tell people, I said, do you understand? He hasn't won a national championship yet. He, he, I mean, stop and think for a minute. You got more press. He got his own show on Prime. He's telling his story. So, what do you think is going to happen to college football programs across the country? They already have a pro day. That's what's going to be the real blow up, because it's all a hunt for talent, and because in my humble opinion, the combine has been managed poorly. They're headed to their demise. Yeah. Well, first of all, it's out in Indiana, which is cold as heck. I don't know why it's out there, but that's a whole other story.
Well, speaking of the NFL, been a whole lot of shaking going on.
Ooh, shake, shake.
Max Crosby, he got a 3-year extension with the Raiders.
Oh yeah.
You know, for $106 million.
Ooh, nice.
The Chargers released Joey Bosa.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah, cap casualties. You know, same with the Eagles releasing Darius Slay.
Yeah.
Now, Justin Fields just signed with the Jets for 2 years.
Yeah, I think that could work now that he's got a real coach.
Yeah, but
and Aaron Glenn.
Now they need a line, or he's going to be running for his life.
Well, just a little trivia. You always beat me at the trivia game. Well, Mekhi Becton was a number 1 draft pick of the Jets, and they lost faith in him and gave him up, and the rest is history. He's sitting over there in the Eagles with a Super Bowl ring.
Exactly my point, So
I'm telling you, these front offices, man.
Well,
some of them.
The Hawks, they're like, oh man, they released Tyler Lockett. They traded Geno to the Raiders.
Geno Smith. Could work. That could work.
They traded him to the Raiders.
And I think that makes sense.
And they sent DJ Metcalf to the Steelers.
Yeah, I could see that making sense. Right? Because a new administration is going to come in. Geno, made his name under who? Carroll.
That's right.
And where's Carroll now? The Raiders. Yeah, come down here. We know how we work together. We know how to get it done. That could work.
Yeah.
And that's another story. Geno Smith, they tried to give up on that guy, stick a fork in that guy. They tried to do everything to kill that guy. And he just kept, and wouldn't stop coming. And the rest is history.
Yeah.
As he said one time, they kept sending me these emails and memos that I'm not good enough, but I never opened them.
Yeah. So now the Bills, they released Von Miller. Well, we knew that was coming.
Well, Von been up in Buffalo catching. He been playing for the last 3-4 years. He been getting big checks for doing not much. So,
yeah.
I mean, you gotta give me something, Von. So they can't keep paying you that big money, brother.
That's right.
And you're not giving them no big outcomes. That can't work.
Now, after all of this drama this past week between Garrett and the Browns, they gave him a 4-year extension at $40 million a year. So
did he take it?
Yes, he accepted it. Yeah. So all of that got put to bed.
Oh Lord. Well, I guess he's not interested in winning a ring. Okay.
And he also got a no trade clause in that deal.
$40 million a year. That's the
money talks.
$40 million a year.
Yeah.
That's $40 million for 4 years.
4 years at $40 million a year.
So you got $160 million.
Right. And I think 123.5 is guaranteed.
Yeah, I ain't mad at you.
It's great work if you can get it.
Great work if you can get it in.
So
I ain't mad at him. He earned that money. That guy earned that money.
That he did. But Cleveland ain't going nowhere, like you said. So sports kids and parents. What's that all about?
I had a very interesting conversation with a lady at the gym, and they were talking about sports, her kids. Her son played for the University of Montana basketball, and she talked about when he came home, he had this girlfriend, and they spent some time together at the house and really realized that they weren't a mix or a match to be married, right?
Mm,
And I was just sharing that as an athlete, you're especially an athlete, you're in a very insular world. You know what I
mm,
mean? And so oftentimes, you hook up with somebody, but you're in a college environment, you're young, you're dumb, you don't know things. And
mm,
she said, you're very true. And I said, the conversation kind of morphed to, I kind of shared with her a recent development. I'm familiar with it because I still coach
uh-huh.
kids and young men, where friends of mine are at high schools where kids are getting night deals in elementary school. They're getting night deals in high school, And so she's like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "These are people I personally know. It's always it's existed. It's just that the mainstream media hasn't known." So I
Mm,
said the problem with that is many of these parents stop parenting,
mm-hmm.
right? And they leave jobs, and their kid becomes the income source.
Yes, yes.
And they don't realize that anytime you don't know when this kid's gonna peak, you don't know. There's a whole lot of unknowns. And she says, that's so true because my daughter was a very good athlete, but she was also very smart. But she didn't love sports like that, even though she was very good.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, good for her. She kept her options open. And
Yeah.
that's really, really important, and a lot of these parents need to understand they're in a business and not turn their kids into a cash cow. You know what I mean?
Trophy
And
kids.
yeah, it just doesn't end well, right? Let me stop the conversation here. She said, I said, I don't know if you know that guy from Kansas City. I think it's Sneed or whatever. He got in trouble for driving fast, and I think he hit somebody,
Oh
and there
yeah,
was
yeah,
issues
yeah.
with his mom doing very strange things, right? And so I said, that's what happens when parents are not parenting, because I got this flush of money, my son's very famous, but no one's advising this young man to understand that you got a window. You're not you have to maximize the one window. There's
Mm-hmm.
always bigger, smarter, faster. Like Kadarius, that was at in Kansas City, traded from the Giants, got an opportunity with Andy Reid, blew up his opportunity. He's
Mm-hmm.
probably sitting home right now,
Mm,
right? He's
mm.
probably sitting home. So it's a very interesting topic, and maybe we'll talk more about it because it's a boy. I got somebody who could really talk about this because he coached with Coach not Foles. Who's at Tampa Bay?
Oh, oh, I know you're talking about. Yeah, I can't think of his name right now, but I know who you're
Sure.
talking about.
And he coached with him, and maybe I can get him on. And he has stories. Oh, he's got incredible stories.
Todd
Um,
Bowles.
Todd Bowles, right?
Yeah.
Todd Bowles. So he coached with Todd Bowles going back to the Grambling days. But let me stop. What else you got going on?
Oh, okay. We're gonna switch gears and talk a little bit about Formula One.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah, because Lewis Hamilton, he said that uh, his debut with Ferrari coming up in Australia was reminiscent of his first race when he was with McLaren in '07. Now, he said he's still pinching himself at being with a Ferrari driver, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
and he's really excited about the race that's coming up to start the season, you know. Now, he's
yeah.
going to be bidding for his 8th championship, and he's hoping to bring Ferrari back to prominence. That's the ideal, you know.
Well, yeah, yeah. Go right
So,
ahead. No, go right ahead. I gotta, when you, I
but
gotta. Mhm.
now Max Verstappen said he doesn't think that they have a car that can compete in Australia. coming up.
Yeah, you can
So,
talk whatever you want. Is what's on the track.
well, he believes his closest rival from last year, Lando Norris, and the McLaren team have the best shot at winning the championship. So,
Opinions are free. Everyone can have one.
that. Well, that yeah, that's his opinion. you know. So, but now Cadillac is going to be entering the field next year.
That's interesting. Really?
Yeah, well, there was a big brouhaha about this last year involving Michael Andretti.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So what happened was uh, when he took a step back and Cadillac stepped up, that's when they decided to let them in.
Yeah, somebody don't like Andretti.
Yeah, yeah. You know, so they're going to be using Ferrari engines in the short term, but
Mm,
they're committed to having their own engines, GM making their own engines by the end of the decade.
that's interesting.
And they have plans for building a plant in Charlotte to
North
build their
Carolina.
engines.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
So, but yeah, that was the big thing. They kind, I guess they just wanted Andretti out of the picture.
Well, when you think about Andretti, he's such a big name,
Mm,
and I think it's an ego play. I mean,
yeah.
his name is going to would bring significant people back to F1.
Mm,
And a lot human
yeah.
nature is funny.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, nah, I don't want us. I don't. If you think about the Andretti name, it's it's synonymous with Formula One.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, it's right up there with Ferrari. You know,
Yeah.
Ferrari has that mystique.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Andretti name has that mystique,
It
and I
does.
think it was more of ego and being lost than being overshadowed by the Andretti name because the
Mm,
history is there. His
definitely.
father drove, he drove. They were both winners in Formula One,
Mm-hmm.
but egos and jealousy and envy, boy, jealousy and envy will get you every time.
Yep. Yep.
Jealousy and
So,
envy. Yep.
what's going on with Shedeur?
Well, I'm just so impressed by, again, let me just give this. Why are we talking about Cam Ward? Listen to this 3 points. He wasn't a 3-star, 4-star. He was a 0-star player.
Mm,
He went to 2 or 3 schools, Washington State, another school. He got an opportunity at Miami and made it happen in a season.
mm,
Why aren't we talking about that?
mm. Yeah.
Think
Well,
about that. There are quarterbacks out there who sat in the systems 3 years and haven't been able to position themselves like this young man.
yeah.
Why are we talking about that? Right? Shedeur is handling the combine, handling the draft like a boss. You hear me? Like a boss.
Well, we talked about that. It's all about the narrative.
Oh my goodness. He's doing his private workouts. He did a thing the other day at the combine because he signed the Gatorade. So he's doing a whole workout. And
Mm,
who's badging it? Gatorade.
mm-hmm.
Right? So that's getting them exposure. I mean, he is handling this like a boss. So all his sponsors, he's like giving them top billing shine on their dime. Oh, 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 man. And he is killing them in the interviews. Oh, he's killing them. Oh,
Yeah.
he's killing them. Oh my goodness. And so I'm just in I'm just in I feel like I'm back in the 80s now watching Prime come, with the gold chains. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I mean, this kid is running the show.
That he is.
He's running to do, and he's doing it well. He's doing it articulate, and he's just like, "Hey, listen, if don't draft me. If you're not thinking about winning and improving your culture, I'm not your guy." right?
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah.
really puts a lot of pressure on a lot of management, the bottom 15.
Mm-hmm.
Why are y'all still the bottom 15? With all this talent, Cleveland, all
Yeah.
these number ones, Cleveland,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
why can't you get it done? So
Yeah.
the Jaguars got a problem, spent a lot of money down there, ain't
Yep.
getting a lot of return on the investment.
Nope.
And so, this the business of the business. And so I wouldn't be surprised the way Shedeur handled this if he does go number one. And he handled that well. He said, these are good problems to have. I don't need to go number one. I need to go where I fit because he understands where I go and we're winning, everything else take care of itself.
That's
Because he
right.
knows. And I tell this to people all the time. You can't even tell me who was number one last year or the year before or the year before and whether or not they're even in the league.
Hmm. Yep.
So what are we doing here?
And as they say, winning is the best deodorant.
Ooh, it smells so good, Joe. Ooh, when it smells so good, it smells so good, it smells so good.
That's right. That's right. Well, we're gonna have to stop right here.
Sounds good, my friend. So I got some surprises coming, and it's gonna be exciting and dynamic. And as we always say on Smarter Fan Podcast,
Stay in the game.
stay in the game, my friends. See you next week, Smarter Fan family. Have a good
All
one.
right. Have a good one.
Smarterfan.